Namaste. So there is a tendency for us, especially those of us involved in mother's work, or for that matter, any work, we get attached to the work. And sometimes it's like, this is given to me. This is the same old question. If everything is done by God, somebody has asked, a relationship comes into your life. Giving an example, actual question. So is it predestined? Yes, it is predestined in the highest sense. The mistake that we make it, we think it is permanently given to us. This world is constantly changing. What is given today for a certain purpose may be taken away tomorrow. And that's what we have to remember, to hold on to the eternal and not to the temporary and the transient. The same applies to the work that is given to us. And we have classic examples. The most classic examples Sri Aurobindo reveals is about Napoleon. He was doing a work of God. Sri Aurobindo says that I saw the arm of God going through Europe. But a time came when Napoleon said, but I am France, and Kali slain him. And this has happened to even an Indian leader. I won't, because we don't want to enter into politics, who received so much of, a kind of force, energy from the mother for a certain work. And that work was successfully completed. But the same leader at another point of time, when started believing that I am India and what I believe is India, was slain and was lying on the roadside. It's actually happened, which many people don't understand. That how somebody who was close to the mother at another point of time could die like this. And there's a whole history behind it, which I don't need to speak about because we don't enter into politics. But we must understand that each of the work is given to us, but no work is given to us permanently. There are times when the sword has a joy in the battle, as Sri Aurobindo says. There is a time when the sword is to be kept inside and just rest with the master. The master is not taking it out. You see, it's very interesting. The sword may say, take me out, I want to, be your sword. He'll say, no, I have the bow and arrow. Or the master may just be speaking. So master will say, no. See, he never used the Sudarshan Chakra in Kuru Sabha when he went as a Shanti Dut. Sudarshan Chakra may have been saying, sir, please, Lord, these fellows, they don't know who you are. Give me a chance, I'll slay them all. But Shri Krishna doesn't say anything. He doesn't call the Sudarshan Chakra. And the third joy is, there is a joy when the sword is broken and thrown aside. In works, we have to discover all the three. This is called the delight of works. There is a joy of the sword when it's kept in the hilt, in the sheath. There is a joy when it is taken out and is part of the battle. There is a joy when it is broken and thrown aside. Sri Aurobindo says that equal joy discover, and this is what the prayer actually reveals. As I said, this is one of my favorite prayers because this is the actual experience. When you have it, then you get freedom from pravritti se nivrati. Some people are very restless unless they work, and then they start, forever remaining attached to the work, saying mother's work. Mother gave me this work. Yes, but she can take away the work. Did she say that for all lives this is the work you have to do? So here is this sobering and humbling prayer. February 25, 26, 1914. Maybe the mother wrote at midnight. One who would serve thee worthily should not be attached to anything, not even to the activities which enable him to commune more consciously with thee. This is enough to reflect upon. To be attached to nothing, not even to those activities which you think are, my means of communication. What if he is wanting you to learn other means of communicating with you? Life is an integral movement. Yes, you communicate very beautifully this way, but maybe he wants, come my child, we'll play the other game. Have you seen that road? No, this is such a nice road. Yes. So when we don't listen, he says, come. And this experience of Sri Aurobindo in the jail. When he says that I had asked you, see, Sri Aurobindo by then already he had experienced the stillness of nirvana, and so by the time he went to the jail, he was deeply, even the talk that he gave after that nirvanic experience, You see, he said, how do I speak? Because my mind is still. All my consciousness is still. And Lily Maharaj tells him nothing. You bow to the crowd and you bow to the Narayana within and then you speak. And this was his experience, that it's the divine who is flowing into his speech. So Sri Aurobindo in the jail says that I had asked you only for one thing, to protect me till India is free. Because there is a work to do. Why have you brought me here? And Sri Krishna Vasudev tells me, because I have planned something else for you. There is another work for you. You have to listen to that. You may think that this is the work through which you serve me, but I have something else in the thought of God. Once Champaklalji asked the mother, he notes it. He says, many years I served the mother. Then one day I realized I am serving her. But is this the kind of service she wants? She asked the mother, Mother, so long I have served you the way I wanted to serve you. Now I want to serve you the way you want me to serve you. See the difference? One who would serve thee worthily should not be attached to anything, not even to the activities which enable him to commune more consciously with thee. And no wonder we see the paradox in Champaklalji's life is a very fascinating paradox. He's a yogi of yogis. Till 1973, he would not move out of the ashram. When people would tell him, he would say, what? Everything is here. Himalaya is here. The whole world is here. And he's right. After all, he has seen the truth. Everything is here. The same Champaklalji, 1976, starts going out. He goes to the Himalayas, he goes to USA, he goes to France, he goes to Hong Kong, all these places. I've been to some of these places where he has been. And then somebody asked him, he said, because she wants me to go. As simple as that. And people couldn't understand him, that how come he who remained so faithfully, even his going out was a faithful act towards the mother. So this is the way of the realized ones. But if in consequence, now there is a ... So this there is another part of the prayer which is coming. But if in consequence of a mass of circumstances, material things take a greater place in life than usual, we must know how not to let ourselves be absorbed by them. All the time, we forget the consciousness in which an act is to be done, and we are only focused on, sometimes it can go to absurd levels, where somebody is going down at the samadhi and we are shouting, get up, because it's a rule. Now you see, it's important to maintain discipline, but the consciousness is so important. And with everything, not only about this, everything. So how easily the very work becomes a means for our ego rather than a work for the divine. We must know how not to let ourselves be absorbed by them. Why? Because our real thing is that eternal. How not to let ourselves be absorbed by them, to keep in the depth of the heart the clear vision of thy presence, and live constantly in that serene peace which nothing can trouble. So that even if all the work that was given to us is taken away from us, we don't say, oh, why this happened? Why did you do this? See, this is what makes Lord Ramachandra what he is. He is a great, among, one of the most capable rulers that one could imagine, born so far back in time. And the whole Praja wanted him, but he had another work to do, to make Aryavarth free from the demons of Dandakaranya, to tame the animals in Kishkinda, animal humanity. So when his father says, he tells his father, don't be in a dilemma. Your promise will be kept tomorrow morning, coronation day. He suddenly decides to go away. Now this is called truly the inner Tyag, where he is not attached to it. At the same time, why this is inner Tyag? When Ram comes back, he doesn't say, no, I won't accept the crown because I have renounced the world. No. Rama's life is about inner renunciation. He goes there, he goes with his bow and arrow. He fights the war on behalf of the kingdom. And when he clears the Rakshasas, they say, but you have wandered away. He says, no, I am following the diktats of the king. On behalf of the king I am acting. The king is Bharat. So I am acting on his behalf. But when he goes away and the kingdom he gets back, he doesn't say, no, now I have become sannyasi. I have developed vairagya from life. He doesn't do that. He accepts the crown. This is the true renunciation. So what is important is to keep a clear vision of the presence within and to live in its peace. That's the most important thing. Oh, to do everything, seeing thee alone everywhere. Often people ask how to do mother's work. So they think a particular kind of work is mother's work. Particularly they think if you are giving lectures, it's doing mother's work. If you are writing books, you are doing mother's work. Or if you are doing work only in the ashram, it's mother's work. It's based on what Sri Aurobindo said once. All work in the ashram is the mother's. But the reverse is not true, that all work outside is not the mother's. See, this is the elementary logic. All work in the ashram is the mother's, and all work outside can be made into the mother's work, including our speech, our thought, our little deeds, if we do it with that consciousness. And all work in the ashram is the mother's, yet by the intuition of the ego, we may turn it into something very twisted. So this is what we have to understand and remember, that what matters is her work is everywhere. Not only in centers, not only in, designated places, so to say. Everywhere. And so many stories of the mother. That story where, that poem where Sri Aurobindo describes that the great yogi who develops all the powers, Hatha Yoga, Raj Yoga, he perfects. And then he says, now see, I have the perfect knowledge. He says, no, not yet. Why? I have done Raj Yoga and I know all this, all the powers. He says, no. Find the one who dwells in every heart. Find him, Shri Krishna. And he goes to the palaces, he goes to Yudhishthir's places, he goes to Vrindavan, he doesn't find him anywhere. Then on the slopes of a hill he sees somebody madly jumping and jumping about. He is very happy, but he doesn't tell the cause of his happiness to anyone. There he finds Krishna. And when he sees him, that seemingly madman pushes him, and all knowledge, pride, everything goes away from him, powers. And then that person laughs and gives him back. He says, take these gifts, oh beggar. So this is a lesson that everything is a gift from grace, from God, and has to be used for him till he wants us to be of use. When he says, okay, tata, bye-bye, come back, change. This is called plasticity. And plasticity is one of the needed, most important attributes of the supramental life. Plasticity and equanimity, two things that the mother has stressed, along with wideness. Wideness everywhere. To do everything, seeing thee alone everywhere, and thus to soar above the accomplished act, without any claim which holds us prisoners to the earth, coming to burden the flight. So see, beautiful. And thus to soar above the accomplished act. You have finished some work. Now you get attached to the work. Go beyond. Move out to other fields, other ways. Who was I saying? Today only, somebody who has done a lot of work. And I said, now the time has come to change. Change. There's a very interesting proverb in Chinese. When you come across a wall, change and pass through. Pass through. And it's so true that she gives a particular field, you have accomplished it, go beyond. Don't brood and start, this I have made, I have built. I was involved in its inception, Okay, God was involved in the inception of the universe. So, sometimes these things take a very humorous form. So once somebody was telling me, this place, how we did this, how we did that. So sometimes you are in a jovial mood. So after hearing, he said, before this, it was a jungle. I said, yes. And much, much, much before this, there were dinosaurs roaming around the planet. Where is the limit? And much, much, much after this, there would be a divine humanity which will look at all this and laugh. So this is how we should, in that vastness. So nothing should burden our flight. We become imprisoned. And nobody has asked us to be like that. But we become imprisoned of our own ego. And we believe that, okay, this is something very sacred trust we are carrying. O Lord, grant that the offering I make of my being may be integral and effective. This is the offering. Not to be attached to anything, but to be fully attached to the divine presence within. And to do its bidding, whatever it be. With a respectful and loving devotion, I bow down before Thee. O ineffable essence, who is in everything. The essence is like the perfume in flower. O ineffable essence. Can you describe where is the perfume coming from? What is its source? Deep down inside. Essence, the ineffable essence. Inconceivable reality without the name. Names and forms are many, and we all, it's the divine comes within the limits of name and form, because we are always bound to name and form. And we need that for our approach. But we must know that the divine is always greater than the name and form. And you see, so beautifully it is enshrined there in the ashram samadhi. Nowhere else I have seen this perfection of language. You see, you go everywhere, samadhi, people will tell you, ye unki samadhi hai. Kiski? They will tell you the name of the saint. Isn't it? What has Mother written about the samadhi? She has inscribed with a purpose. O thou who art the material envelope of our master. Where is the master? Master is everywhere. In every heart, Sri Aurobindo is burning like the light of the suns. In every heart, Sri Aurobindo and the Mother are there. And life, several places, Mother says, I am trying to tell you that I am not just this. She pinches the skin. Much more, much greater. This is to be used. She has used it as an instrument. But she remains herself and infinite. Namaste.